Hello everyone, I am back again. It has been a while, but I am going to talk about 2021 in movies. But first I'll start with 2020. And the first film I will talk about is Tenet. This was slightly controversial within the film community. Obviously it's from Christopher Nolan. Some people hail him as a god. I call them the Nolanites. They say he can never do anything wrong. They got really angry about early reviews of The Dark Knight Rises. I remember some of them may have even said death threats. I'm not sure about his fan base. Anyway, since Inception for me, I loved Inception, but everything since then just, for me, again, just hasn't been my cup of tea as far as Nolan goes. Interstellar, Dunkirk, everything. They're good movies, great technically, in some ways even masterpieces, but I just didn't really like them. And yeah, Tenet is no exception to that rule. I don't know, guys. I had a hard time understanding what they were saying for most of the movie. There were some interesting things, whatever that code sentence they kept repeating, whatever the hell that was, I thought that sounded cool. The ending action sequence was interesting. I feel like if I watched this movie again, I would probably appreciate it more because I would understand what the different timelines and stuff were, but I just don't want to sit through this movie again. I happened to see the prologue before Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and that was honestly the best part of the movie, so I could have just stopped there. Next is Saigon in the Rain. Get it? Saigon in the Rain. This one was not spectacular. If you want to foray into Vietnamese movies, I would definitely recommend Matt Biek over this. But it's interesting. One person said it's a movie for singers, like people that want to be singers. So if you want to be a singer and have an interest in Vietnamese cinema, you should watch this one. I saw Sponge on the Run. I loved Spongebob as a kid. It's not really one of the fandoms I brought into adulthood, but I'll still watch the movies. I watched Sponge Out of Water. I enjoyed it. This one felt like a step down. It seemed to 90% of it was a backdoor pilot for this new SpongeBob TV show where they're kids or whatever and they go to a camp. That actually looks kind of interesting. I might end up watching that. But as far as this movie goes, no, not for me. Another one, Host. Not The Host, not the other million movies called Host, but this one is a horror movie that all takes place on a Zoom call. It's a really inventive idea, and it was cool to see kind of the found footage genre done in this way. Reminded me of the original Paranormal Activity in a lot of ways, that just how low budget it was and generally quite creative. That being said, the acting, I don't know. The story kind of redundant. We've kind of seen it before, but it was interesting. It's not too long, so if you like horror movies, I suggest watching it, but it's, I'm not trying to be negative here, guys. A lot of these movies have been underwhelming. Next, Wonder Woman 84. Get this, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I have not loved the DCEU up until this point, but as someone who likes The Last Jedi, I thought there's a lot of really cool stuff here. There was cool effects, cool sequences, cool visual elements. There were interesting ideas. I understand not all of them meshed together. Not all of these ideas came together to make a cohesive story. But I still enjoyed the movie, but I understand the criticisms that it may not technically have been a good story. But it honestly may be my favorite DCEU movie. Speaking of the DCEU, we finally got the Snyder Cut after years of bitching and moaning. I was not part of the internet battalion asking for this movie. I saw the original Justice League in theaters, the Joss Whedon cut. I enjoyed it. It was cool. I was never that big a fan of Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, so I was like, okay, we saw what we saw. I knew the story about Zack Snyder and everything, but I just was not frothing at the mouth for the Snyder Cut. But now we have it, we've seen it, and yes, it's a lot better than the Joss Whedon version. I also finally watched the Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut before this, and that is also better than the theatrical cut. It's more of a real movie, it's more of a cohesive story. So watching, I didn't watch Man of Steel again, sorry. But take Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, and then the Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's a good story. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League is big. It's 4 hours long. It is like 4 hours of, I guess, ecstasy for the Zack Snyder and comic book fans. But for me, it was a good story. Everything had a setup and payoff, and they're clearly setting it up for more sequels. And I would like to see one more Zack Snyder Justice League movie. Maybe just to show what he wants to do with fucking Lois Lane and all that crap. They've been setting it up for a while. And yeah, I also watched Rex. This is a weird Japanese movie on Netflix. It certainly did not come out this year. I just watched it this year. It was, I don't know. I like this movie. It's interesting, unlike other movies I have watched. And it's kind of a Christmas movie. Maybe if you want to watch some weird Japanese kids movie around Christmas, if you're out of Christmas movies to watch, you can check this one out. Finally, Godzilla vs. Kong, the rematch of the century. I'm a big kaiju fan. I have watched most of the Toho Godzilla movies. I have watched all the recent American movies, Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now this one, I really like Godzilla 2014 because it captures the classic Godzilla feel and structure of, especially the Showa era of the Toho movies. Like it's mostly a human story, and you have Godzilla. He does some stuff throughout the movie, and then you end with a giant monster match. And a lot of people didn't like it. They thought it was slow or boring. They just don't understand that's a Godzilla movie. I was never bored because I knew that Godzilla was going to fight monsters, and I did not need it every second of the movie. In contrast to that, Kong Skull Island, that was, I don't know who wrote that script. I thought it was really dumb, but visually it was a great movie, and I liked the universe they continued to build there. And then Godzilla King of the Monsters, that was, I don't know, everything was blue. I don't know why. But he finally fought King Ghidorah in a American movie with the high-budget CGI, and that was interesting, and it set up Godzilla vs. Kong. This one, the story in Godzilla vs. Kong just goes off the wall. It's very classic Japanese, especially kaiju movies, had silly stories like this, but it sets up for some great monster matches. The titular fight between Godzilla and Kong, I think, is maybe the best kaiju fight I've ever seen in cinema because it's colorful, the monsters have size, you feel that, and they're not just flopping around like I felt in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It did not never look silly. They actually, their attacks had weight to them. So, great stuff. That is what I've seen so far this year. You guys can tell me in the comments your thoughts about all these movies, and maybe recommend something to me that I haven't watched. But yeah, for now, see ya.